Okay, I hope this one's not too confusing. What this is going to show is how to extract a method using Visual Studio. Just so you know, you could do it. Know it's possible. You might need to look it up again in the future if you ever do it. But I've done it before actually. I think I've shown you in a previous video just by chance. But so I hope it's not too confusing because I've reverted this a little bit. And what I've done is in my play craps method, you notice there's no sides that's passed to it. That was handled a different way before. So I've taken that out. And instead, I just determine the number of sides. You remember get number of sides or whatever from the other videos? It was a separate method. I've made it not a separate method now. So the logic that I use to find out how many sides the die has is all inside of the play craps, which is probably not where you want it because it's getting a little bit too far afield from the task. And it would be a nice thing to determine the number of sides as a separate little subtask in its own method. So as you can see here, I set it to sides equal to 0, and then I iterate over all the radio buttons in that group box to see which one's selected, and whichever one's selected is where I get the number of sides, which is this right here, this line. So the way to make this, extract this into a new method, is to select everything that's sort of involved with it. So you can see new roll has nothing to do with it. Creating, instantiating your two dice has nothing to do with it. This is the extent. It's a little bit of an art, but this is what has to do with the method. This stuff that's selected right here, and then type Control Dot, and you get this interface. It says extract method. Just go ahead and do that, and you can do this or not. Like if there's comments, you might want to include them. If not, you might not want to, whatever. And you see what it does is it creates by default a method called do method, and it figured out what we need to do here because we need to make that sides variable have the right value in it. And it's like, okay, the rest of this is the logic that determines that. So name it something sensible. It's not a bad name, and then hit apply, and what will happen is it will, now we have a method call here instead of the actual logic, and elsewhere is created the actual method. Notice that it returns sides. That wasn't there before, but now it is. It was before there in a previous video because I did that in the previous video manually. It created all of this on its own, taking what I had typed already, adding a little bit of what it needed to make it a method that returns an integer, and it just extracted and created it for you. So that's important to realize. I didn't tell it to make it a private int, get number of sides, no parameters. It figured that all out on its own by the logic that was highlighted. All right, so that's something that can help you sometimes. Normally it's going to be like you could have done it yourself. It's just faster to select the section. Usually that's when you want to do it. You don't want to try to like extract methods willy-nilly to try to get better code or something. You want to know what it's doing before it does it. It's just saving you the typing. And of course you always want to check it to make sure it runs right, for both by eyeballing it and also by doing some debugging or what have you. So without anything in here, it does 1,000, right? That looks the same. Change the number of dice, and you should get different statistics costs. Looks like you got more opportunities to get the right thing, I guess, statistics wise, and less opportunity of rolling a 7 on the point. I don't know. It looks like you win more often when you increase the die size, which makes it not valid for a valid game of craps, right? It's kind of silly, but anyway, seems to work now. So that's how you extract a method. That was just me showing you one simple example. Of course, you want to review the book and see exactly, maybe some more examples. But that's under 5 minutes. Wow.